Hey guys. Sorry, I'm still trying to get this all set up. It's been a minute, my goodness. All right, see if I can get this stuff up here. Of course, the file is too large. Imagine that. Okay, let's gonna try something else. All right. How's everybody doing today? It is. It's hot. It says, oh my gosh, mine says it's only 82. I find that hard to believe. Hold on. Let me see what else. Because it felt like it was 82 degrees at 9, 10 o'clock this morning when I took Ghost out for a walk. The real feel is 91. Yuck. Oh, why would somebody do that? That is so, ugh. I don't understand people. Let's see. All right. I'm trying something new and I want to duplicate it. Oh, that's right. That's right. Forgot about that. Yay. Hi, Kim. How are you, honey? I got too many things open. Let me close some stuff. What? I didn't mean to close that. Darn it. All right. All right, hun. I'm just glad you're here. All right. Where did I save that? Gosh darn it. All right. There's that. Okay. Why is this not? Okay. We'll see. Yes, Kim, it is. Um, it was in, he was found along Highway 81 um, in Jefferson County in Terrell, Oklahoma. Naked and only wearing mismatched shoes. That breaks my heart, Victoria, because ghost has pit in him, and he is just the sweetest, funniest little dude. Or he's not so little anymore, but yeah. And he was only 19, and they still don't know the manner of death. Oh, I need to share my screen. Duh. Let's see. Oops. Hopefully, I'm sharing this right and it will work. We'll see. Right. And I know there are lots and lots of people that get pits to and train them for fighting. So, yeah, they don't always get them for the right reasons. It is. It is very crazy. It's very sad. I've got several videos. They're just short videos. Most of them, I think, are News Nation. Um, and then I have the autopsy and tox results as well that we can go over. Um, so if anybody is familiar with this case and wants to hop up here and help me out, I would greatly appreciate it. But if not, that's okay too. All right, hi guys. All right, so I guess I will just start and we'll start going. So this is a picture of Noah. He was 19. Him and some friends went on a 4-day 22nd birthday party um, that was advertised on social media. So I'm sure that probably got bigger and crazier than it was intended to be. But yeah, and it was over Labor Day, so September 2023. So this is still, excuse me, an active investigation. Um, play this video. Let me know if you guys can hear this okay. Like I said, I was trying some new stuff with slides and things. Hopefully make it a little easier to present this stuff. So let me know if you can hear it.
Take a listen to my interview with him.
And this is his brother.
He just said that Noah was in an accident, and so I thought he was in the hospital, you know, and so I come by and I pick up my dad and we start driving down there, and it's only a 30-minute drive from Comanche, but that drive felt like 2 hours just sitting in silence. And then
Awesome.
we
Thank you.
show up, and Jack and Caleb and the Jefferson County Sheriff was there, and Noah was covered up on the side of the road with the tarp, and it was just kind of a good 10 minutes just staring at fields, just and a loss of words, you know. When we show up there, everything's going through our minds of what in the world could, because it doesn't look like a hit and run sort of situation, you know. And some weeks go by, and we, you know, they finally rule out the hit and run, and that 4-day party turned into something awful that happened within just a short hour time span for him. I believe this is his tooth right here. His pants were folded up on that square mark.
His pants were there. His tooth was right there in that circle.
I believe so, yeah. And his body was here. And he was in the fetal position, facing that way. and his body was covered up with a tarp or a blanket type of thing. And as you're looking at it, you can see blood seeping through the covering and onto the ground. As I'm looking at it, it just seems weird. The placement of the body, the tooth, the shorts, where they're at, doesn't look like a hit and run. Not that I've been aware of.
Have you ever heard them say foul play is suspected?
I've heard suspected of foul play, suspicious death. And again, they don't tell me everything because they don't want to ruin the investigation. But they said that they've got a couple of people in mind on the situation, and that they're really looking in on them. So,
are you able to tell me who those people are?
They haven't told me.
But they have said that they have a few people in mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. Somebody's got to know something.
Somebody's got to know something. If there's 40 people standing around and someone, walks off, somebody knows about it. So if 40 people are standing around and somebody gets into a fight, somebody knows about it, and with how close everyone is, with how many pictures are taken on Snapchat, you think that something has to turn up. Somebody has to know something and just doesn't want to say it.
And has law enforcement been pretty open with you about the things that you're hearing or what they are investigating?
Somewhat, they're willing to talk about certain things, but then there's some things that's like they don't want to say too much because what if it messes up with the investigation, and so there's a lot of areas that we're still in the dark about, that they know more about, and I'm hoping that they know more about the situation. That's kind of their job, and the only way we're going to get through this thing is if we're still hopeful.
Do you have any message for law enforcement or anything that you want them to know about how you're feeling or this lack of information that you're getting?
I get it that you want to protect the investigation. I get it that you want to protect the case so that way it's carried out. But quite frankly, 7 months is too long. I just hope that people see this and are able to, just maybe it'll push someone to say something, that they understand that it's being selfless. It's for someone else. It's for the true victim. If you know something, just say it. It's better to say it and let the family have some sort of peace, to let Noah have some sort of peace, than to not say anything.
And so again, it's about a push for answers from this family, but unfortunately not getting much new information from law enforcement. They tell me their information is at least 3 or 4 months old. And then earlier today, I stopped by the medical examiner's office in Oklahoma City to try to find out what's the latest there, if an autopsy has been completed yet, and when we're expecting to get that paperwork. They were really closed off to me about that, Ashley. They said it's just not ready yet, and you'll get it when it is.
The issue about the suspects that Noah's brother believes that there are several people that they're looking at as suspects, that's what he's been told. And I mean, at this point, they have already said if there are suspects, it's not necessarily that it was, an accidental hit and run. It could be both, right? It could be a hit and run, and that's criminal too if you leave someone on the side of the road and you know about it. Is it possible it could be both, even though police have said they don't think it's a hit and run?
Well, the interesting thing when actually examining the scene and then talking to the family is that there really was not overwhelming evidence to show that it was a hit and run. I've covered so many of these auto pedestrian crashes, and you notice some things are very similar, right? There might be debris from the vehicle that struck the pedestrian, right? A headlight or different parts of the car that are on the side of the road. There was no evidence of that. And then not to mention the fact that at least one of his shoes were still on his body. That's also indicative that a car traveling this fast on this highway, I've got to say, they're at least 70, 75, 80 miles per hour. Usually everything would go flying. The teeth were so close to the body. The shorts that were off of his body were so close to the body. So there's just evidence that points that it's not a hit and run. That's at least what the law enforcement is telling the family at this point.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Take a listen to my interview with him. Take a listen to my.
News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello has been gathering all of this new reporting today. He joins me live now from outside of Terrell, Oklahoma. Really remarkable reporting that you were able to get on both sides of this, now what seems sort of pitched debate between these families. Tell me what you learned today.
Yeah, really interesting hearing both sides of the story, one from family, another one from a very, very dear friend. We did the interview separately because I didn't want any sort of contamination of the things that they were going to say to me and their accounting of the story, but really great details from the both of them. I'll show you just very briefly. This is the cross that now stands on the side of the highway. Jack Newton, that best friend who is at the very center of this conversation, is the one who actually placed these crosses here on the ground. The house where the party was actually is less than a mile away that way. So really the story goes, as they are trying to piece it all together, is that at some point Noah actually just walked down this road at some point and his body was found not far from here. Let's begin with Jack's account, though, because Jack has a very different opinion about what happened than what his family members told me. And at the same time, he also shared new details about what it was like to have so much suspicion surrounding him and what it was like to pass a polygraph test. Take a listen.
I ran over here, asked him if Noah was okay, and the semi-truck driver had his hands on Noah like this. And so I just kind of, and I could just tell, that he was not okay. He's laying on his side, and he just had his eyes closed, And he had a cut on his forehead. Like, it wasn't just like terrible, it was just a cut on his forehead. The top of his hair was scraped off his head, and there was blood on his ears. 100% in my heart think that he was hit. I think he got hit on the top of his head by a semi. And that shoe that was on good just stayed on. I don't know. I can't explain any of it,
Is there any part of you that believes that he might have been beaten to death?
No, he was not beaten to death.
Why not?
Because just the injuries, you just could tell he's not. And I said, okay, I'll take the polygraph test. I took the polygraph test, and it was nerve-wracking, of course. I had these two things on my fingers. I had a butt pad and then my feet thing, and these things around my chest. And I didn't even get to look at the guy. I was looking straight forward, and he was talking to me, asking me questions.
There's a lot of online chatter, and I think that's the reason why they're asking for you to take a polygraph test about you and your father. Tell me about what that experience has been like for you to have to handle that type of discussion happening all around you.
I think the reason that I got brought into it is because, going through high school, you did not hear Jack's name without Noah and Noah without Jack. We were just always together. He lived with us for a while, and we were just always at each other's houses. I think when everybody heard something happened to Noah, they just said, "What about Jack?" And just, I don't know. I don't know where all the crazy talk's coming from. Just sucks.
Do you feel good to kind of be past that a little bit with the polygraph test? Do you believe that you're past that or no?
People saying stuff. People are saying like it's easy to pass a polygraph and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. You can't really control what people say about it. You just know what you know. And I've put my personal number on Facebook and said, if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
So what has these last 7 months been like for you?
It's always been the hardest time of my life. And on top of other people saying everything, just been the hardest time of my life.
And so if you could tell there from the very beginning of that interview, Jack was one of the very first people on the scene. He tells me that he was leaving to go fishing with his dad when he drove up the road, noticed all the activity, and then saw Noah's body right here, bloodied on the side of the road.
Well, Alex, fantastic interview, and so telling, but I'm still confounded by the other side of the argument, which seems to come from Noah's family. His brother spoke with you today and has a completely different version of what he thinks happened. Tell me what you learned.
Yeah, while Jack is of the train of thought that this is most likely an auto pedestrian accident, a hit and run crash, which is something that law enforcement has virtually at least said that they have ruled out. From the brother's perspective, he feels like something much more sinister might have happened, that people at this party know something but just aren't saying it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage. News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello has been gathering.
All right. I must have saved this one funky. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get it going here.
On a lonely highway is no longer being investigated as a murder, despite his gruesome injuries. Noah Presgrove was only wearing shoes when his body was discovered on a deserted stretch of US 81 near Terrell, Oklahoma. That's about 100 miles from Dallas, Texas. News Nation has learned about the events in the hours before his death. He had been drinking at a house party with friends over the Labor Day weekend last year. The 19-year-old had also rolled an ATV that he was driving with friends earlier that day. He returned to the house after that accident. He got in a fight with his girlfriend, and then he left, never to be seen alive again. Now, Presgrove suffered a fractured skull, broken ribs. His teeth were knocked out, scattered near his body. Tuesday, the county's medical examiner revealing his cause of death as multiple blunt force injuries. While the report answers how he died, the manner of death, what caused those blunt force injuries, remains a mystery. Also this week, after almost 8 months of silence, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, who is leading this investigation, gave its first update saying that they are not investigating his death as a murder. But the investigation is not over. Earlier tonight, I had the chance to speak with Noah Presgrove's sister, Madison Rawlings. Here's part of that interview. I would like to ask you how you and your family are doing first. How are you coping with all of this?
We're pretty strong. I know that we are a resilient group for sure. So I think we're handling it as best as that we can and just trying to stay hopeful and optimistic.
Hopeful and optimistic. What are you hoping the outcome will be? What does that look like going forward?
I'm just hoping that we get it all tied up and we get everything solved and all the questions that we're needing. I'm hoping that it's way less intense that we can't imagine it to be.
Yeah.
Hope that we find out that Noah went fast and that he wasn't in a situation where it would have been a lot worse. Does it make sense?
What questions do you have surrounding what happened?
I just want to know, like, how he died. I want to know what scenario was played out that caused his death and what happened. I just want to know what happened.
And we're nearly 8 months out. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol finally providing this update that they are not investigating Noah's death as a murder. What are your thoughts on the handling of your brother's death?
I think that having some communication means there's progress. So with them saying that they're not investigating it as a murder, there's so many other things that they are able to classify it as. So maybe they have just made some progress and were able to give us that kind of update.
So we have this autopsy report released this week that shows that Noah died from blunt force injuries. It rules out him being hit by a car at that spot where he died. He was basically found unclothed. He was hit in the head, broken ribs. His teeth were knocked out. Despite all of that, though, your brother's death not being investigated as a murder, what do you think of that? What do you suspect may have happened that night?
Well, I don't want to just point my finger at anybody that I think could be involved or have any theories that are victimizing other people too, because in the end, Noah had passed away and nothing makes sense to us. So I don't really like to just throw theories out there, because if you follow the Justice for Noah Facebook page, you will get plenty of those. You can find plenty of theories everywhere, but I do think that something happened at the party that he was attending the night before, and I just think that people know and they need to speak up.
Tell me more about that. What do you suspect may have happened at that party? And we know that one of your family members told News Nation he believes foul play was involved. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to disagree. I have no reason to disagree, but I know those people out there. They claim to be Noah's best friends. They claim to love Noah, and I hope with my whole heart that that is actually what happened. Is that they were not involved at all. But at this point, I can't rule it out.
What is your message for people tonight who maybe were at that party, people who had their phones out, taking images, taking photos, who may have seen something and are not saying anything? What is your message to them tonight?
I just hope that they can find it in their hearts to just do the right thing. And if you're doing the right thing, then that's all that we can ask of you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage. On a lonely highway is no
I have asked this question before, but here goes. Was Noah Presgrove murdered in Oklahoma, or did somebody kill him accidentally and run away? Or was it an accident, period? Random, tragic, nobody's fault. It pains me to say it, but even 8 months later, it depends on who you talk to. Noah, as you will probably know, is this 19-year-old high school grad whose battered body turned up on the side of a highway Labor Day morning last year, naked, except for his shoes, one of which was not his. From the outset, the police called it suspicious, which wasn't much of a stretch, but then they went radio silent, and the family never even got a proper death certificate. But 2 days ago, bombshell. Noah's brother told us exclusively the police said to the family they were looking at several people as possible suspects in Noah's death. Implication, foul play. That same day, News Nation paid a visit to the Oklahoma City Medical Examiner's office, asking why, after all this time, why they had failed to produce an autopsy report. And then voila, there's Alex Capriello. Just yesterday, they produced an autopsy report listing Noah's cause of death as multiple blunt force injuries, perhaps from, are you ready? Unknown vehicle. Implication, pedestrian accident. But then under manner of death, which is accident, homicide, suicide, natural, the ME marked unknown. So we ran all of that by Joseph Scott Morgan, who's our go-to certified death investigator and forensic analyst. And he pointed out something really interesting, that the assessment of the body was not done at the scene, and that the autopsy was done more than 24 hours after Noah was found, which is far from ideal. And now today comes a written statement from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And again, bombshell. They're investigating Noah's death along with the OSBI, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and pay close attention to the operative line in the new statement. It reads, and I quote, "Currently, the OHP is not investigating Presgrove's death as a murder," end quote. Which could be in line with the autopsy report. What about the family's report that police were looking at possible suspects? Do the police believe that Noah was a victim of homicide, death at the hands of another, but that it wasn't on purpose? And if so, they may want to have another chat with the ME. Or are the two investigating agencies not on the same page? Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's facts.
Very, very crazy.
I have asked this question before, but here goes. Was Noah...
Sorry. And this may be, let me see what this one is.
More than 7 months after Noah Presgrove died in Oklahoma at the age of 19, investigators still haven't said how it happened or who might be responsible or really much of anything other than the death is suspicious. Tonight, we learned from Noah's family that when the teenager was found on the side of a highway back on Labor Day, the back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His fingertips were shredded. He was naked, except for a pair of mismatched shoes, one belonging to him and the other belonging to a friend. I'm joined now by Joseph Scott Morgan, a certified death investigator and distinguished scholar at Jacksonville State University. So, all right, Joe, I want to go over that list. I want to pop it up on the screen, just sort of as a guide here, because with your prism and how you look at things, I thought maybe this would tell a story that we're not seeing. Start with this: the back of his head was caved in. Some of his teeth were missing and scattered where he was found. His nose and his cheeks appeared broken. His body seemed beaten and swollen. His fingertips were torn up. There was gravel under his nails. There was road rash on his hip and gravel rash on his shoulder. We're working on getting the list up, but I know that you have a good memory. So, Joseph Scott Morgan, what is...
See, and with what she just said, that little bit of road rash and gravel rash, if he had been dragged, he would have had a lot more road rash, gravel rash than what he had. Right, Victoria. I have not been able to find or hear anything about his clothes other than a pair of shorts that was found next to him. I hope they can too, Butterfly, because this is just crazy. This family needs some answers.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, this large injury that Noah sustained to the back of his head is interesting to me, because that is likely a point of impact, perhaps. Now, that impact can arise from any number of things: falling from a moving vehicle as a pedestrian, maybe being pushed out. It could also arise from an attack that preceded being left on the side of the road. So for us in forensics, it's very important to examine that particular injury very carefully. And at the risk of being too gruesome here, we would shave the head in that area to pick up on any particular pattern. Sometimes the road will produce stuff, but you can also have instruments that are used. Blunt trauma is what we're talking about here, Ash. And you look for that abraded pattern there. So that's something that we would certainly look at, particularly as it applies to this head injury. It sounds horrible.
I think you and I did a couple of cases together where there's a lot of talk about, specific geographic locations of dirt or gravel. Dirt here is not the same as dirt 15 blocks down the road. And so would there be an interest in figuring out the gravel that was found on his hip, the gravel that was found on his shoulder versus the gravel where he was actually discovered?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Forensic geology is what comes into play here. You begin to think about this area and the topography, also the composition of the local soil. And we're talking about a roadbed too. So folks at home will get an idea of what's referred to as like pea gravel. It's kind of the bed that's laid down. You can see it on the shoulders of the road. So I would want to make sure that anything that is recovered or was recovered from Noah's remains actually marries up with what you're seeing at that site, or did this occur elsewhere? That's going to be very, very important here in this particular case, because I got to tell you, Ashley, I've worked a lot of cases over my career where we've had bodies that were dumped along the side of the road because it's convenient for that to happen.
Yeah. The other thing is the investigator told the family, this has to be quick, but the gravel rash happened first and the road rash happened when someone placed him on the highway. That's what the investigators intimated to the family. What does that mean?
Well, the road rash itself that they're talking about, that almost sounds like a dragging event, Ash, and you'll get these kind of striated abrasions that come along with that. It's very distinctive when you take a look at this, and that's the transfer of the surface, the friction of the surface to the underlying skin. And keep in mind, and I got to say this: look, you're talking about a kid here that's completely nude. One of the things that I'm going to do anytime, it doesn't matter if male or female, doing a rape kit, going to do a rape kit. And I know that they said that they found underwear adjacent. I want to know the status of that underwear as well. Was it ripped away? Was it twisted and torn? That's something that we see in motor vehicle accidents. I want to know how the underwear got off his body, and I want to know where the rest of his clothing is.
I'm going to have you back because there's a whole other page that I want to go
Anytime.
over with you regarding
You bet.
the scene of the party and the forensics there. So this conversation's not over. Joe Scott, thank you so much. Always love having you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe.
Because he's saying underwear. And then the other things I heard, they said shorts and red. I agree, Butterfly. Well, in the best friend's interview, he said that when he showed up, hello, Cat K, sweetheart. Thank you for joining us. He said that when he showed up, there was a semi driver there, and that he could see some blood that had seeped through the blanket or tarp or whatever it was, blanket type covering. And that the semi driver had put his hand on Noah to say to his friend, you know, he's gone. So I'm not sure. All right. I don't know if this is the last video.
They are not.
Oops. Yes. Okay. This is the last video. Sorry, there's so many, but there was so much information in each little video that I wanted to make sure we got as much as possible. And you were right, Victoria, they do. And maybe it was the truck driver that found him and covered him up. I will have to, with it being an active investigation, I don't know if I can find any police reports or anything like that that has more information or not. And we'll look at the autopsy. Maybe that'll tell us too.
They are not investigating the mysterious death of an Oklahoma teen as a murder.
And it is mysterious. 19-year-old Noah Presgrove was found dead along the side of a rural Jefferson County highway last year. News 4 Spencer Humphrey is here. And Spencer, I know you've gotten to look at the medical examiner's report. Does this shed any more light on what might have happened to this young man?
Yeah, Kevin, I did look at that report, and it does say that Noah Presgrove died from blunt force injuries. But when it came to how the medical examiner believes those injuries happened, be it intentional or accidental, they couldn't make a determination. It all leaves Ashley Chadwick with very few words.
I really don't know what to say.
A news release today from the Oklahoma Highway Patrol indicates the agency is not investigating the death of her cousin, 19-year-old Noah Presgrove, as a murder. Meanwhile, a medical examiner's report News 4 obtained today lists his manner of death as undetermined.
It's a lot to process. I really don't.
Noah was found dead along the side of Highway 81 in Jefferson County back in September, wearing nothing but two mismatching shoes. His family says he'd gone to a Labor Day party at a friend's house that night, but they still don't know how he ended up dead on a remote highway miles away. I introduced you to his family last month when they told me state troopers had stopped giving them updates about the investigation.
At the end of the day, what we know is that he lost his life.
When you don't have answers, you can't close your heart from that heartache.
That story caught the attention of News Nation, giving the case national attention.
I am glad that it has crossed so many states, so many surfaces.
The newly released medical examiner's report lists blunt force injuries as Noah's cause of death, but it doesn't specify how they happened. Presgrove's family says investigators previously told them it didn't look like Noah had been hit by a car. And for Chadwick, it's still all a lot of emotions with very few answers.
The cycle of grief is continuing and it doesn't stop.
Now, since the first story I brought you last month, Chadwick says OHP has started regularly communicating with their family again, staying in constant contact. She wanted me to pass along that the family is very appreciative to investigators for that.
Okay. I'm going to drop this down for a minute. Let me grab the... That's a good question. Let me look that up real quick. How do you spell that? Terrell. Terrral. Let's see, we got June, so we gotta go September. All right. September 4th, which was the morning he was found. Okay. So the night before, the 3rd, the high was 88 that day. Looks like with a chance of some rain, it got down to 70. And then on the 4th, the high was 94. So it was pretty warm. Really, really warm, actually. Okay. You're welcome. All right, let me pull up the there it is. Thank you for stopping by, Kim. Have a great night at work. Hello, KT. Thanks for being here, hon. Well, that's always a possibility, Butterfly. I know they said that he had the ATV accident, but was fine, went back to the party, got into an argument with his girlfriend, and then he walked away. And that was the last time anybody saw him. All right, let me make this big. All right, that's a good question. Okay, let me get me off of here. All right, you guys can see it better. Okay, so just the usual stuff. He was found on 9/4, 6:18. Of course, it doesn't say AM or PM, but I believe it was AM. It's a pedestrian. It says type of vehicle. It says other unknown. All right. I haven't gotten that far yet. So I'm not sure. But I think that would be a good road to go down. All right. Now, forewarning, guys, this autopsy is harsh. I mean, I don't even have words to explain how bad this is. So it says multiple blunt force injuries, head and neck, abraded avulsion laceration on the left top of the head, subjacent abrasions on the lateral left eyebrow, corner of the left eye and left cheek, front of the left ear. Left ear was with associated lacerations, and left side of the neck. Abrasions on the right back of the head behind the right ear and subjacent posterior right neck. Broken upper and lower teeth with abrasions on the midline mucosa of the upper lip and laceration on the midline mucosa of the lower lip. Laceration on the left surface of the tongue, subcutaneous scalp and subgaleal hemorrhages on the parietal, occipital, bilateral, temporal, and left frontal regions of the head. Left temporalis muscle laceration and hemorrhage. Fractures of the left parietal, temporal, and frontal bones. Basal skull fracture splitting the middle base of the skull into two, anterior and posterior, and extending to the left temporal and sphenoid bones and around the occipital bone. Additional separate fractures of the occipital bone extending into the edges of the foramen, magnum, and occipital condyles. Subdural hemorrhage of approximately 20 millimeters. Bilateral subarachnoid hemorrhage. Swelling of the brain with lacerations of the inferior surface of the left temporal lobe, brainstem and its adjacent cerebral vessels and left cerebellum. Cervical fracture at C1, C2, C6, and C7. Misalignment of C1 and occipital condyle. Pneumocephalus and pneumorachi, I think, Reikis. All right, the torso. The torso had broad abrasions on the upper back containing black material. Abrasions showing combined linear and varicized pinpoint to round to irregular individual patterns involving the left upper back, shoulder, posterior left arm, and left side of the torso. Abrasions on the right buttock. Abrasion with the varicized pinpoint to round to irregular abrasions on the side of the left buttock. Lacerations of the right and left lungs with contusions, left pulmonary vessels, left atrium of the heart, spleen, and proximal stomach. Soft tissue hemorrhage of the posterior upper chest cavity. Bilateral hemothoraces of at least 1,200 milliliters in, I think that's supposed to be maybe total. That's what I was thinking, Verify. Victoria, I don't see how this is an accident either. Hemopericardium of at least 150 milliliters. Hemoperitoneum of at least 200 milliliters. Bilateral scapular fractures. Bilateral posterior rib fractures as follows. Right, 1 through 5 and 8 ribs. Left was 2 through 5 ribs. Thoracic vertebral fractures, T1, 2, 4 through 9, and 11. Bilateral pneumothoraces with left more than the right. Extremities, abrasions on the right arm and forearm, left elbow, thighs, knees, legs, and right foot, side of the right ankle and side of the right hip. Contusion on the back of the right heel. No evidence of fractures. Hold on 1 second, guys. Um, okay. The opinion in consideration of the circumstances surrounding the death, autopsy examination, and toxicology result, the death of Noah Alexander Nichols is due to multiple blunt force injuries. The decedent was found naked, wearing only a pair of shoes on the side of a highway on the morning of September 4th, 2023. There was no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene. At this time, what transpired on how the body was found on the road, having multiple blunt force injuries, is unknown. Therefore, the manner of death is deemed undetermined. Now, this is horrible. What's that, Victoria? I have 8 calcified subdural hematomas from. Oh, yikes, Victoria. I am so sorry. Calcified. Wow. Right. Says an autopsy was performed on the body of Noah Alexander Nichols at the office of the chief medical examiner at Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on September 5th, 2023 at 1300 hours. The circumstances of death. The decedent was a 19-year-old male who was found on the southbound side of a highway by a passing truck driver on September 4th, 2023 at approximately 5:53 hours. He was naked and was only wearing unmatching shoes. There was a pair of shorts found several feet from the descendant and was reported to be his. Additionally, there were 3 pieces of a white metal chain, as well as part of a tooth present several feet from the descendant. Also, there was a clump of hair found within one of the lanes of the highway several feet from the decedent. Additionally, a clump of hair was observed on the right buttock without blood or tissue. The paved highway consisted of 2 lanes with shoulders on both sides and a speed limit of 65 miles per hour. The highway was poorly lit at night. There was no vehicle parts or debris observed on the scene. Further investigation revealed that the decedent, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied, was at a house party and drinking on September 3rd. Then he rode an ATV Ranger vehicle with several men that had a rollover incident. The decedent was alive following the incident and returned to the party where he got into an argument with his girlfriend. The decedent left the house party and was not found until the morning of September 4th, 2023, on the side of the highway. Yeah, butterfly. That's what I was trying to think. I'm like, white metal chain. That was very interesting, to say the least, about that. Identification, subsequent scientific identification of the descendant was made by visual/tag. We don't need to go through all of that, I don't think. We just went through all of that. That was the injuries. It's still the injuries. All right. Where's the tox? There it is. There's a tox report. I know it was in here somewhere. All right. So the tox report showed 0.14 grams of ethyl alcohol that they got from the blood. Yeah, it doesn't say how he left the party, just said he left. The vitreous, which I believe is from the eye, if I remember my medical stuff correctly, was 0.18 grams of ethyl alcohol. Other than that, there was nothing else in his system. Nothing. None detected. So I found that very interesting as well. So I'll show you guys. All right. And this is the map. So Terrell, Oklahoma is way down here in the south part of Oklahoma. And the party was over here. And this is, if I remember right, is about a mile apart from where he was found. All right, so the injuries, this might help you guys, at least it helped me anyway, because I mean, I know all the words and everything, but to, kind of get a better idea. So he had the road rash across his upper back. He had some grazes, as they put it, his left upper back of his left arm, and his right buttock. So that was on the, let's see. Oops, hold on a second. Right, so patchy grazes across the left side of the torso, some on his both arms. Let's see if that may change. Hold on a second. Let me try something different. See if it. It still cuts it off a little bit. That's okay. Okay. I was just trying to see. It looked like it. Well, it did cut it off some, but that was the external. Okay, hold on. I don't like the way that's cutting it off. It's hard to actually. Let me do this a different way, guys. Let's see, brain, skull. All right. That needs to go away. All right. It really does. But my goodness, what would to this extreme? There we go. That's better. I like that better. All right. So that was the external injuries to the back. There's the internal injuries from the front. So there was not only the arms and the side, but there was also the one thigh, the knees, and the side of his leg. Oops. No! That's not supposed to be there. Not that either. Where'd my pictures go? Jeez. All right. External. Hello, Arctic. Hey, no problem. Better late than never, honey. All right. Yeah, this is crazy. Crazy, crazy. And if you want to come up here and help me out, just let me know and I will drop a link. All right, so broken back and ribs. So both shoulder blades were fractured. 10 rib fractures on the back. 9 vertebrae fractured in the upper and middle back. So, and then this shows you how the vertebrae fractures were. Hello, Heather. Thank you for being here, honey. All right, so that was the back. No, we don't want to watch that again. All right, let me get these other pictures. Oops. All right. All right, the internal. What? No. My goodness, I'm having issues today. Sorry, guys. All right. This is not cooperating with me the way I want it to. Okay, so the internal organ damage. There was damage to the left atrium of the heart, the left pulmonary vessels. Both lungs were punctured. Spleen, stomach were damaged. He also had internal bleeding around the heart, which consisted of 150 milliliters. The chest, 700 milliliters on the right and 500 milliliters on the left, and that is a lot. And the abdomen, 200 milliliters. So you can kind of see here where they have the red, they're showing you the amount that it was of the internal bleeding as well, to give you kind of an idea. This is awful. This kid had an awful, awful death. Gosh. Okay. All right. Now we'll go head injuries. See, like I said, I understood when I was reading the autopsy what they were talking about, but you just, to see the pictures gives you a better idea of how extensive it is. All right, the external injuries of his head. He had a 4 by 2 inch of scalp torn off the bone, sorry. Bleeding from both ears. Grazed at front, cuts on inner ear. The mouth, upper and lower lips were split. Teeth were broken. Fragments were in his mouth. Cut on left side of tongue. Grazes across his left eyebrow, corner of the left eye, left cheek, left side of neck, right back of the head, behind the right ear, and right back neck. So horrible. All right, let's see. All right, the skull fractures, which kind of blew my mind as well. All right, the skull fractures. So there was one that went all the way this way, one that went here, and one over here. And then his left temporalis muscle was damaged. Yes, Heather, this is from the autopsy. Exactly. Right, Butterfly. How can they not investigate this as a murder? Yeah, I'm with you, Arctic. I'm with you 100%. All right. And then the brain injuries. We're almost done. I know that it sounds awful. All right, so brain injuries. There was bleeding above the skull. There was bleeding under the skull. And there was bleeding around the brain. Damage to the brain was the left cerebellum, deep into the brainstem, and then the left temporal lobe. So these 3 areas right here. Right, let's see. We got his neck injuries. All right, so the bone linking skull to neck is broken. So that is what is called an internal decapitation. If I remember, like I said, if I remember my medical stuff right, it's been a while. So if I am saying this wrong, please let me know. The neck was broken also at C1 and displaced from the skull. And then there were neck fractures at several vertebrae, so C1, C2, C6, and C7. All right, and that is all of the injuries. No, I probably would too if I knew where to listen to them. They are interesting. I am hoping that maybe whatever injury was the one that took his life was the one that happened first. And it was a blink of an eye and he was gone and he didn't know what else happened after that. All right, Arctic said, I do know that allegedly he had gotten into an altercation with a girl at the party. I know that some of the party goers have stayed silent. This wasn't a hit and run. If you get hit by a car, it usually knocks you out of your shoes, not your pants. Exactly. Exactly right, Art. Butterfly, I still feel he was beaten by multiple people, then dragged by a truck based off of current info. It's at this point, I think anything's possible. I mean, there's a good possibility that some of the abrasions, road rash could be from the ATV rollover accident, the more minor ones. But he didn't get all those other broken bones and things from rolling over. Should have, Victoria. Let me see. Um, 1 second. Well, I'm having issues today. Well, maybe, maybe not. Are you Victoria in Discord or do you go by something else? Nope, there you are. Alright. I slipped and fell walking in a slightly damp wood deck, and when I fell, my shoes flew. The large knotted bruise took 8 months to go away completely. Yikes! Um, not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen anything yet, but, you know, that doesn't mean I just haven't crossed that information yet. Indrid, welcome. Thank you for being here. We don't know. We don't know if there was even an assault, but with the amount of damage and injuries, I don't know how there couldn't have been. See what Arctics say. I think he was pushed out of a truck traveling the wrong direction down the road, which explains the distance the body appears to have traveled. That's a good possibility. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Hiya, Kimber. Thanks for being here, hon. Let's see, where are we at? I'm sorry, Victoria. Let me see if I can find anything real fast on the white chain. Oh, I was going to show you guys pictures of the road where he was found. Don't let me forget. See, most chain isn't white, so that's why, unless it's been painted like you're talking butterfly, if it was attached to a truck and it had been painted, because most chains not white. Um, me- It just said a white chain injured is the only description they gave. Nope, not that picture. Hold on. All right, so this is a picture of where he was found. There's the cross. These white marks, I believe, is where his body was found. He was, according to his best friend, he was on his left side, looking towards where the cross is, in fetal position. The small circle, I believe, is where his tooth was found. This bigger circle is where his shorts were nice, neatly folded and sitting were found. Um, let me see, there was also this photo I found. Um, is that the right one? Yeah. So you can see the spot. So it was several feet from where he was found. Because I believe that was the tooth, and in between there was his body. Maybe that was the shorts, the tooth. Something like that. Oh no, because there's the cross, so. Sorry, guys. This one's harder to see. Yeah, so it had been done there. It was several feet away. Well, maybe it was his brother. I watched an interview with his brother, his best friend, his sister, and his aunt, so I might have got him flip-flopped, sorry. Right, Victoria, definitely. Because I mean, that's the automatic position you go into when you're getting beat up, is to try and protect yourself, and you go into the fetal position. Okay, let me see. So there's those. Let's see. No, not that one. All right. So I think that's all the pictures and things, videos I have at the moment. I wish I had more, but I at least wanted to get it out there, and get people talking about it, maybe looking at it, and I can get some more information, and we can talk about it some more. Again, maybe in a few days. You are very welcome. It's one I had looked at a while back, but I didn't realize that it was still unsolved until a few days ago. And I was like, okay, you know what? This has got to get out there. His family needs answers. because none of it makes sense. I hope so. Let me see. Let me look real quick and see if I can find. I'll be right back, guys. You are very welcome, butterfly. Right. Something here. Hello, Lurker. How are ya? So one of the shoes did belong to him, but the other shoe did not. I do remember reading that one of the shoes was a Hey Dude brand. I cannot remember what they said the other brand was. Let me see if I wrote it down. Of course I didn't. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation described Presgrove's death as suspicious. I'm reading. One ran all right in. Holy cow. That bike messenger was hauling, man. I did see that Arctic. I did. I forget his name, of course. He's 20, if I remember right. Oh my gosh, Victoria. So he had extra push for his speed. Wow. Detailed in some videos. One video from the night he died showed some of Presgrove's friends writing their names on his bare buttocks with a marker. The writing was not still there when his body was discovered in the early hours of the morning, and it is unknown how and when it was removed. That's interesting. 2 more videos show Presgrove daring friends to slap him across the face as they partied under an outside patio at the house. Presgrove had to repeatedly insist that a male friend hit him, eventually only giving him a light tap before sprinting away in fear of retaliation. What? Another concerning photo appeared to show a teenager holding a rifle with Presgrove visible in the foreground. Presgrove's family complained his friends all claimed to have no idea what happened to him and how he ended up dead by the roadside just hours later. Huh. Hello, Michael 007. How are ya? Thank you. I appreciate you just stopping by. This is weird. Okay. Hello, Aurora. You're very welcome. Well, I don't know, Butterfly. I didn't say that. I would hope so. Anyway, Butterfly. Hello, Will. How are you? Thanks for being here. Okay, what the? All right. Come on, open. All right, let me share my screen so you guys can see. Exactly, so many questions and no answers. But I will continue digging and see what I can find. Here is Mr. Frankenberry. Let me close some of these. There is a Facebook page for Noah. It's Justice for Noah Presgrove. If you guys want to check it out. And he says, police said Frankenberry went missing after failing to check into a hospital. The Metro Nashville Police Department is searching for 20-year-old Christopher Frankenberry, who has autism. Frankenberry was reported missing by his mother after she went to pick him up from TriStar Centennial Hospital. Police said Frankenberry went missing after failing to check into a hospital. Frankenberry's mom said she spoke to him at about 4 p.m. over the phone while she was entering into a voluntary drug rehab at 1618 17th Avenue South. His mother said Frankenberry was taken to Centennial because the rehab Live Again Detox said they could not admit him into the program due to him having a pacemaker. Hello, Salty. Yay, thanks for being here, hon. And I don't understand what a pacemaker would have to do with him getting detoxed. The faculty at the facility told Frankenberry's mother they dropped him off at the hospital at about 5 p.m., but did not check in and was missing. Christopher's family said he likes to roam the streets and he is most likely in dark colored clothing. The family said Christopher needs to be admitted before he has another heart attack or he dies. Oh my goodness. Is this the same? Let me see. So this one was back in November. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if I shared the sound or not. Let me reshare it just to make sure you guys have the sound. Okay.
TBI has issued a silver alert for this person, Christopher Frankenberry. He is missing out of Goodlettsville, but may possibly be in Madison. TBI agents say Frankenberry has a medical condition that may come in the way of him getting home safely. If you see him, make sure to call police.
Growing up, Zaylin watched.
That was short and sweet. Jeez. All right, let's see here. That was back in November. And then it seems like he looked like he's found pretty quickly on that one. If I remember right, I thought he had had several. He was, goodness. You search for this poor kid and you just get Sebastian now. Christopher. All right. This was 7 hours ago, so let's see.
Nashville parents are desperate to find their missing son, and they're hoping that you can help.
Yeah, Carly's following this. She's on the alert desk right now. We know this missing man has a form of autism, and he was supposed to check into a hospital, but Carly, he never showed up.
That's right. So this is who we're looking for right here. This is 20-year-old Christopher Frankenberry. His parents tell us they are so worried. They say every time they hear about a body being found, they just start hoping and praying that it's not their son. His mom tells us they wanted him to go to a rehab facility called Live Again Detox. And Frankenberry even spoke to his mother over the phone as he was walking in. But the facility would not admit him into the program because he has a pacemaker. So they dropped him off at Centennial Hospital. But Frankenberry never checked in. That was last week. And his family tells us they have been on edge ever since.
Oh, man. We just want him home. That's our biggest concern. We just want to make sure that he's okay. If he just answers a text saying I'm alive, I'm good. I don't want to come home. We can deal with that. But I just want to know that he's alive.
That was his dad that you just heard from. He tells us Frankenberry likes to roam the streets. He says his son is most likely wearing dark-colored clothes.
Hi, Paula.
And they're asking that you please keep an eye out.
Growing up, Zaylin Washington will tell you the odds were never in his favor.
Oh, stop it. Let me see. Where's the other one? This one was just 2 hours ago. So let's see if it has any. No. Anything different? I assume they probably all have the same info. Right, Noni? I don't understand the issue with why he can't detox because he has a pacemaker. I don't understand that. Does that make sense to anybody? There's that just me. All right, went to pick him up from. Okay, so a silver alert was issued for him in November and then again in January. And then again now. So they refuse to help him detox because of that? I mean, you would think they would want to help him more because I don't know. That could be a butterfly, maybe. I mean, if he's just out roaming around and he's not getting the meds or drugs or whatever, then that's going to be worse than. You would think butterfly. Yeah, that must be it, Salty, because otherwise I don't know. I think this is one we already watched. This was from yesterday. Yeah, 7 hours ago. Okay, so Frankenberry's mom said she spoke to him at about 4 p.m. over the phone into the voluntary. Hmm. I don't know. That one's a poor kid. I mean, I realize he's an adult, but he's a kid to me. Yeah, why did they take him to the hospital? Arctic said, I don't know, but I'm sick of facilities that are supposed to help people letting them down. People going missing from medical facilities and group homes almost every day. Exactly. Yeah, there's something. I mean, so the faculty at this Live Again Detox said they could not admit him into the program due to him having a pacemaker. So the faculty at the facility took him and dropped him off at the hospital at 5 p.m. So why didn't they make sure that he did check in? I mean, so like Arctic said, in my opinion, that living in detox facility is negligent and at fault if they did not make sure that he was checked in or with someone that could get him checked in. Not just drop him off and leave him to do whatever he wanted to do, which is the opposite of what he needed to do. Let's see. Hospitals here have detox programs in their buildings. Okay. Butterfly said, unless there's something we don't know, is it the first time he's been to a facility? And if so, were they told that before? Hold on. I know he's an adult. Let's see. Said she spoke to him at 4 over the phone while he was entering into the voluntary drug rehab. What did that other one say? Sorry, guys. Christopher. I forgot his first name there for a minute. All right, what is this? Goy. So it sounds, from what I can tell from the little bit of articles, he must have went there on his own. According to the article, they wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't because of his pacemaker. Let me see what this. Oh, that was no info. Let me try the Facebook. So even though he's adult, and happens to have autism. I I just wonder, and with the pacemaker and everything, if maybe they have power of attorney over his medical. I don't know if Arctic's still in here, if he knows. He was, he, from what we can tell with the little bit of information, is he showed up to the um, rehab facility to check himself in. They said that they could not take him because of his pacemaker, and they dropped him off at the hospital. Says his mother said Frankenberry was taken to Centennial because the rehab, Live Again Detox, said they could not admit him into the program due to him having a pacemaker. The faculty at the facility told Frankenberry's mother they dropped him off at the hospital at about 5 p.m., but did not check in and was missing. Crazy, crazy. Let's see. And he's only 20. I don't know if his I'm trying to see if this is the most recent. Oh, that was the one from January. Paula, it sounds like he was living with his mom. They said that he likes to wander the streets. So it sounds like he kind of comes and goes. Right, Noni. And depending on his medical issues, I mean, he's obviously been in and out of hospitals. So maybe he just has a hatred for hospitals to begin with. trying to see if I can find anything else. You're good, hon. And that's yeah, I don't know enough about Tennessee. He could be. She went to what did it say? Sorry. Oh, she went to pick him up from TriStar Centennial Hospital. That's when she found that he had not checked in. And one thing we watched, I don't know if it was this one, the dad said, you know, they just want to know he's alive. If he is out, you know, roaming the streets or whatever, they just want to know that he's alive. Let me see if it. Oops. Yeah, let me. Sorry, I guess I'm not sharing it. It's kind of hard to watch. Can't see it or hear it. This may be the same one I played a while ago.
And he was supposed to check into a hospital, but Carly, he never showed up.
That's right. So this is who we're looking for right here. This is 20-year-old Christopher Frankenberry. His parents tell us they are so worried. They say every time they hear about a body being found, they just start hoping and praying that it's not their son. His mom tells us they wanted him to go to a rehab facility called Live Again Detox. And Frankenberry even spoke to his mother over the phone as he was walking in. But the facility would not admit him into the program because he has a pacemaker. So they dropped him off at Centennial Hospital. But Frankenberry never checked in. That was last week. And his family tells us they have been on edge ever since.
Oh, man. We just want him home. That's our biggest concern. We just want to make sure that he's okay. If he just answers a text saying I'm alive, I'm good. I don't want to come home. We can deal with that. But I just want to know that he's alive.
That was his dad that you just heard from. He tells us Frankenberry likes to roam the streets. He says his son is most likely wearing dark colored clothes, and they're just asking that you please keep an eye out.
Growing up, Zaylin Washington.
Okay, May 31st. I knew it was recently. Yeah, this stuff's getting out of control. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about? Okay, yeah, he had gone missing back in November and was quickly found, I believe. And then again in January, he went missing again and was found and now this time. So this will be the third time. But it seems like in the past they've been able to find him and know where he's at pretty quickly and easily, and not quite so much this time. All right, yeah, that's what I thought. All right. I just hope he's okay. Yeah, there's a lot of them that like to wander, unfortunately. I have a little guy across the street from me. One day I walked out the front door and I hear him giggling and running around the side of the house. And um, the next thing I know, one of his therapists is running right behind him trying to catch him. And she's like, "You better come back here." And I said, "Uh-oh." Luckily, she caught him and he stayed in the yard. Hmm. Are they running away from California? I would. Mine too, butterfly. I just couldn't imagine. And then the way some people go after the parents, it breaks my heart. Oh, see, I wouldn't run to California. I'd run away from California. Sorry. Not too many people. I don't like people. I mean, I do like people, but not that many people in one. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Is that thunder? It might be getting ready to storm. Hmm. I wouldn't go to Arkansas either. Yeah. Let me see what the population of my town is. You guys are probably like, what? Let's see. Why is my phone going nuts all of a sudden? Let's see, is this current? Oh, that was 2 years ago. Hold on. Uh, wait, what? All right. The little town I live in has a population of 33,237, and that seems too populated to me at times. Yeah, I think I just heard thunder. Let me see. They said we might get storms. Right? I get that, Arctic. I get that very much so. Yeah, it looks like there's some little storms popping up. Hmm. Some big storms down in Kentucky. Victoria, born in Ohio, left at 17, lived in Nebraska, Idaho, Iowa, and Florida. Wow. Yeah, we've had our fair share of rain as well. Heather, I did see that. I did see that. I was a little surprised. No. Holy moly, butterfly. That's too much. Ugh, fires. Why do those never die out? I don't understand. Or are they not supposed to die out? Oh, Heather, that's awful. Wow, that's awful. That is awful, Heather. Yeah, that's the one I saw was the shooting, and then yep. Yeah, I saw the shooting first, and then the other one popped up. Awful. Right, Heather? Yeah. Ohio can keep their stuff over there. I don't need it crossing over here into Indiana. I mean, we have our issues, but not. Yeah, Victoria, I saw that JLR covered that. I was like, wow. Didn't even know they had that many alarms. I don't know. It seems like there's always fires somewhere either in California or Canada, and they all seem to waft this direction towards Indiana, and it just the smoke kills me. Oh my gosh, a bank blew up? Hey, we got hills in Indiana. You just gotta go to the right spots, parts of it. Chicken building? Hold on. Well, thanks for being here, Butterfly. I appreciate it. And have a great rest of your day, hon.
That construction site there on Middlefield Road. I want to get right to some of the video from the ground. The San Mateo County Sheriff's Office in the last 45 minutes extending their evacuation orders to include those living on Dumbarton Avenue. From the train tracks to Middlefield Road, as you look at the huge plumes of smoke coming from this building under construction. The evacuation orders in addition to those who live nearby on Pacific Avenue and Calvin Avenue. If you live in those areas, San Mateo County Sheriff's Office urging you to evacuate immediately. Deputies are on scene assisting with those evacuations. Video showing that fire actively burning on the side of that construction site as firefighters work to attack it any way they can. And I want to show you a look at this time-lapse camera. You can see the smoke from the massive fire just from miles away. Winds lifting that smoke across the area. There are reports this is an 8-alarm fire. What that means is a huge response, including units from surrounding fire departments, a massive amount of resources trying to get control of this fire here. Again, the big headline, evacuation orders for this structure fire that is for people on Dumbarton Avenue, Pacific Avenue, and Calvin Avenue. If you're in those areas, evacuate immediately. In the newsroom, Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Gassia.
Greg, thank you. Let's head straight out now to KTV's Jesse Gary. You're on the ground
Right,
there
Heather.
near Redwood City in North Fair Oaks. Jesse, what have you learned so far?
Gassi, I've learned that this massive fire behind me has sparked smaller fires in the community. And so that's one of the things the Menlo Park Fire Department is trying to address, not only the main fire, but several smaller fires that are sparked because it's a little breezy that's sending ambers out into the community. I talked to fire officials who say this started on the 5th floor of a affordable housing complex that is now under construction, or at least it was under construction. You can see it's burning right in front of us. It is a 179-unit affordable housing complex that was started just this year. The fire department says it began on the 5th floor in some insulation that was being installed. And we don't know what touched off the fire, but insulation and other kind of material you can go up very quickly, and that allows the fire to spread, which is what happened here. So now firefighters are in a defensive posture, trying to prevent this fire from spreading to area homes. There's some apartments and townhomes very close to this. Try to keep it from spreading that way and also spreading to the Caltrain tracks. I'm told if you commute by Caltrain, you may have a problem this afternoon for the rush commute home, because Caltrain service right now is halted because of this fire, and maybe several hours. So service along Caltrain may be affected this afternoon if you use that. Again, firefighters with the Menlo Park Fire Department are in a defensive posture, trying to make sure these flames that you see shooting out of this building don't spread and touch off more of the smaller fires, which they say that is happening. The embers are getting caught into the wind and touching off smaller fires around the area. And so they're trying to address that and try to fight a defensive battle to try to make sure this doesn't get any worse. We will bring you the fire chief's comments coming up around 12:30. Gassia, we'll head back to you.
All right, Jesse, if I could just
That's why I was going to ask if anybody was hurt or killed, because I hadn't heard that.
a couple questions. You said that the fire started on the 5th floor amid some installation of insulation. Was there work actively being done when the fire started? Do you know if anyone was inside the building, and were they able to get out?
Well, the building was under construction, so I'm guessing there was work somewhere going on, but I don't know if they were specifically working on the 5th floor and like a torch or something touched off the insulation, or if there was some kind of wiring that malfunctioned that touched it up. We don't know that yet. We just know that the origin source seems to be 5th floor insulation. Again, this is a 179-unit affordable housing complex. It's called the Middlefield Junction in North Fair Oaks, which was approved by the voters in this county to add to the affordable housing stock in San Mateo County, and now that's lost. So they're trying to keep it from spreading to other buildings. Gassia, next, you had another question?
Well, my second question is the fact you said it's windy out there. Firefighters have told you that some of the embers from this fire have been picked up by winds and blown to other structures that are now burning. Do you know, is this mostly a commercial area? Is there residential? What do you know about those other fires?
There's commercial and residential area. I wouldn't say windy. I'd say breezy is a better way to say it, as opposed to windy. When you think of what we saw in Tracy last night, that was windy. This is more breezy, but the embers are, as you see the flames continuing to shoot even higher into the sky, those embers are being caught in the breeze and being pushed to other areas, and they're setting off smaller fires, smaller grass fires. So from what I'm told, it's not necessarily structures that are burning, but like grass fires, because the grass is dry everywhere, and so it's catching grass fires.
It really is stunning to see these live pictures that you're able to bring us through your camera, but you're there. Has the situation changed much? I mean, I know it's been a roaring fire.
Wow, that's wild. I'm glad nobody was. Jeez Louise. I'm glad nobody was hurt or killed, for sure. All right, what was the other one you said? Chicken building? It's a chicken farm in Illinois. This is. Oh my. Hold on. Sorry. All right, guys. Well, I am gonna hop off here. My puppy's hollering at me. He wants to go out. So I think I'm gonna hop off here. There's only a few of you left anyway. Yeah, that's crazy, Victoria. They probably did. It's probably for insurance or something, maybe. So I want to say thank you to all of you that did show up. I appreciate you all. And hopefully, I will see you guys again soon. Do you want to go outside? Huh? Do you need to go outside? Yeah? Yeah, we already did the nap thing. We already took our nap, so. All right, guys, take care. I love y'all, and I will see you soon. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you. Love ya.